All right, welcome back to the MMA discussion board. We're talking UFC Columbus this weekend. Daukaus versus Blaydes. A lot important rides on this fight. I think both of these fighters can get what they want. You have Curtis Blaydes, who can easily turn around into a title fight contention with how the top contenders have already dealt with Francis. They could, easily fast track Curtis, get that signed if they want to do that. And then you have Daukaus, who's looking for a way into the top rankings. He had his last match against Derek Lewis, but he's coming in against Curtis Blaydes. He's commented on wanting to fight Stipe. That could easily happen if he wins this fight. If he just gets on the mic and says something after the fact. A lot of people are saying this is more grappler versus striker. I don't really think so. I think it's, at the beginning, Blaydes, of course he's known for his decorated grappling credentials. And that could, easily make him a grappler or grappling centric. But I think at this point he's proved he's much more than just a grappler. He's grown into a MMA fighter as we would like an MMA fighter, much like Cyril Gahn. If you want to talk about skill as it relates to MMA and how they should be ranked, I think Curtis has more than proven himself. So I don't see that. I see a new coming prospect, a really good prospect, because I really laud Daukaus' boxing in general. But I see him coming in to prove himself against a well-balanced MMA fighter. I think that's why I kind of pick him over Daukaus. Just the experience edge. He's got Jairzinho Rozenstruik on his belt. He's got, Volkov, which he broke the record against Volkov. He's got Dos Santos. And then he has Shamil. Shamil actually has decorations in grappling. Of course, we remember the Willis fight. But I think Daukaus has a lot to prove here. I don't think it's so much that he can't get a win. Because of course all fights start on the feet. If he can catch Curtis before he really gets to him, Daukaus could probably get a win. He's really structured in his striking. He's not swinging wildly. There is a lot of thought, a lot of technicality that goes into what he does. But for this fight, I kind of lean Blaydes to win. I will be surprised if Daukaus does win, and it'll prove a lot for him as a fighter in this division. Because Blaydes right now, even though I guess he's Curtis Razor Blaydes, he's a Swiss Army knife. He's got all the tools to be champ, along with the fact that he's not afraid to grapple, even if the crowd might be booing or whatever. He doesn't succumb to that type of pressure, and I think that's what really makes what somebody if you were to say what you would need to be a champ. You look at the GOATs and the people who are holding the belt. You got, GSP wasn't afraid to grapple when, when it was, I guess, going against the crowd to grapple. It wasn't, if you look at Kamaru Usman in the lead up to Masvidal, when he was supposed to be fighting Gilbert Burns. And Masvidal steps in on short notice. And of course, you're talking about two completely different fights. Gilbert is a world decorated grappler. And Kamaru chose to grapple George despite the fact that, George is a stand-up fighter. It's not to prove anything. It's to win the fight. So Daukaus has that against him in this particular issue, in this particular fight, because if it does end up being a issue where Blaydes doesn't have the edge in the striking, he doesn't have the edge in clinch control, Blaydes will be looking to take it to the floor. But to also talk about a similar fight that a lot of people are saying that the main event is, which is a striker versus grappling match. Askarov versus Kaikar of France. Now, this fight here, I will say, fits that a lot more. Um, Askar is a decorated, I'm talking about Olympic level grappler. Gold medal, and he's been showing it throughout the UFC. He is undefeated. He is undefeated in MMA right now. Nobody has a win over him that I know of. I think he has one draw that came against Brandon Moreno. People have wondered why this man has not fought for the title yet. It might be due to, I guess, lack of yelling about it and things like that. But, I mean, he should be next up. He should be next up. I think, I want to wait a minute. Checking his record. He did miss weight against Benavidez in his last fight, but that's 2021, probably around March. Yeah, around March. So that could have factored into it. We don't know. COVID could have also factored into it. We don't know. But this is that fight. City Kickboxing has shown that they are able to get strikers to avoid being taken down. Of course, we've seen it with Izzy. We've seen structured grappling with Alexander Volkanovski against Brian Ortega. This is another one of those fights, but unlike those particular people, unlike Izzy, which you might bring up Jan, that's an entirely different division. I think that's an entirely different conversation. And unlike Alex against Brian, this is going to be, I think, their first Olympic challenge in terms of how well you can keep somebody off of you. Kai has a challenge in front of him, unlike few have seen in the UFC. It's rare I can see NCAA, but it's rare you're running into a guy who is not only competed in Worlds, but he's also has gold in the Olympics. That's probably the biggest challenge on the card. I don't see another challenge like it on the card. So this might end up. This is what actually has me pick Askarov. Just due to that, I think everything on the feet though, it's not arguable. I think Kai takes it on the feet. Askarov has some good stand up. And of course, as we know, with wrestling strength in striking, we saw with Bryce Mitchell recently, where against Edson Barbosa, where it's like, well, we think that the striker's gonna have the better striking, and then that wrestler drops that bomb, and you're on the floor, and it's like, oh my gosh, this guy is like he's throwing trees at me. But on the feet, I think Kai should take it. Skill for skill, I think he should take it. I think he's shown that, and we can see this here as we're looking at them kind of stare down. Askar looks very confident in this fight. He just doesn't look bothered. But we've seen this before. Like, people looking past Kai, and that's not to say that just based off this one little, photo that Askar is looking past Kai Kara-France. It's not to say any of that, because how there are some people that kind of look at and break down specific eye movements. Like Askar was looking at his eyebrow. This shows that he is fully confident that he can wax his mustache or whatever, or something like that. But we've seen Kai pretty much come in underdog, still outperform whatever. As we know, I think it was his last fight against Cody Garbrandt, where Cody was basically arguing with Sean O'Malley. Different division, different fighter, looking past Kai Kara-France, and you didn't realize who was in front of you. Kai has come to prove himself. He wants to be the best in the world. It is you know, some fighters are not always clear on the fact that they want to get to the title. And France is clear on that. But I'm still leaning Askarov. I think once if it gets to the ground, if you know. But I'm gonna end it here for these two specific fights. Like I said, I'm breaking these up now with the 15-minute mark thing. I still have to get, I guess, a certain amount of something. And I don't want to be rushing to kind of compact stuff. Because it kind of ruins, like, I don't know, I feel like it ruins the discussion. If I'm just kind of, yeah, next fight, next fight, next fight. Especially with how important these fights are. So let me know what you think in the comments. Askar versus Kai Kara France. Who do you think wins? And then Daukaus Blaydes. You know, do you think the weight difference is going to be enough where, you know, Curtis is going to completely dominate Daukaus? Or, you know, who do you think wins this fight? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see, top tens or something like that. Maybe pick each other's brains on other divisions, top 10 divisions. You know, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Thank you for interacting with us. The Twitter page is in the description if you're watching on YouTube and want to know what we post on a regular. We do get involved in a lot of MMA news. So, you know, the link will be in the description on that. But other than that, thank you guys. Have a good day.